Hi everybody, let me tell you a new story today. This story is about a personal experience of Xiaomei's father. It sounds quite incredible. Xiaomei is from Jiaozhou, Henan province and currently lives and works in Beijing. The incident took place in 2002 when Xiaomei was in elementary school. To make the story more concise, we will refer to Xiaomei's father as Sun. Sun is a physics professor and the head of physics department at Henan Polytechnic University. That year, his university planned to add 3 new laboratories to the physics department before the university's recruitment season. Since the new laboratory were to be established, it was necessary to purchase corresponding experimental equipment and instruments. Some of the equipment and instruments were not available in Jiaozhou and had to be purchased from other places. The university leadership designated Sun as the person in charge to lead a few other teachers to purchase the items elsewhere. It just so happened that Henan Polytechnic University organized a group of teachers to travel to Beijing during the May Day Golden Week. Since Sun had originally planned to go to Beijing to purchase the equipment and the instruments, he joined the tour group with his procurement team while the others traveled for fun. Before departing, they had already contacted local suppliers in Beijing to discuss the procurement details. The original plan was for everyone, including the procurement team, to return to Jiaozhou on May 7th. However, on that day, Sun still hadn't seen an important piece of equipment. This product was imported from other countries by a laboratory equipment supplier from Dalian. The products in the Beijing warehouse had already been sold out. Due to the holiday, although the Dalian warehouse had stock, it hadn't yet been shipped to Beijing. If Sun wanted to see it as soon as possible, he would have to go to the warehouse in Dalian. Sun did not dare to make the decision on his own and called the university leadership. The leadership instructed Sun to take another teacher, Liang, to Dalian to inspect the equipment. The rest of the procurement team would return to Jiaozhou with the tour group. The decision was made rather hastily. Sun called his wife, Xiaomei's mother, to inform her of the situation. At that time, Sun and Liang were on a taxi heading to Beijing airport. Xiaomei remembered vaguely her mother saying after hung up the phone, "Your dad won't be home today. He has something else to do and will return in a few days." Xiaomei clearly remembered that day her mother wasn't feeling well. After lunch, she took a nap and did not wake up until 5 p.m. In the evening, she prepared dinner and Xiaomei helped her clean up the kitchen and sweep the floor. Around 7 p.m., Dad, Mr. Sun, called again. Xiaomei was in the kitchen at the time and faintly heard the voice on the phone. It seemed that Dad was sick. By 8 p.m., Mom called Dad again to inquire about the situation. She was told that it was a serious issue and that he had already taken some medicine. Dad told Mom not to worry and to take care of herself. Mom also advised Dad to rest early and eat food. Let me tell you Sun's situation. On the morning of May 7th, he and Liang took a taxi to the airport to fly to Dalian to see the equipment. They had already booked their plane tickets. At that time, Sun was in perfect health and had no issue at all. They arrived at the domestic departure hall of the airport quite early, around 1:30 p.m. However, it was still too early to board the flight, which was scheduled to depart in another 6 hours. Moreover, the airport was crowded with people, as it was the last day of the May Day holiday, and many passengers were tourists leaving Beijing. The weather was quite hot that day. Although the departure hall had air conditioning, the air quality was poor due to a large number of people. Waiting in a hall for 6 hours was really uncomfortable. Sun and Liang wanted to go out for a meal first, and then book a room in a nearby hotel. They could take a shower as long as it didn't affect their flight. Then they checked into a hotel near the airport. After taking a shower, Sun felt sleepy. It was not yet 3 p.m., and there were still 4 hours before the boarding time. Sun said to Liang, "I'm sleepy. I'll take a short nap. If you are tired, you can sleep too. I'll set an alarm so we won't miss the flight." Liang replied, "You can sleep. I'm not tired." Sun lay down and quickly he fell asleep. He had a very strange dream. In a dream, he walked along onto an overpass. He did not know whether he was in Beijing or in Zhouzhou. It seemed he wanted to cross the street. The fog around him was very thick, and it was extremely quiet, with no sound at all. Below the overpass was a road, but he cannot see any cars. He did not know if there were any other people on the overpass. In a dream, Sun walked step by step along the overpass. The overpass was very long, and he did not know how long he had been walking. He saw a person ahead faintly. Squatting by the railing was an old beggar, dressed in a tattered clothes, hunched over, with a broken bow by his feet. Seeing Sun approaching, the old beggar reached for the bow and shook it without saying a word, indicating that he wanted money. Sun subconsciously felt his pocket to see if he had any spare change to give to the old man. It was the era of Nokia and Motorola, before the advent of mobile payments. People still carry cash when they went out. Sven searched through all his pockets but couldn't find any money. He could only smile awkwardly and gesture to his empty pockets, indicating that he wanted to give but had no money. He continued walking forward. The fog was a bit thinner. Ahead were the steps leading down from the overpass. He saw someone on the steps, an old man in a white shirt, descending. He did not pay much attention and continued walking forward. As he was about to descend the steps, he looked down and saw a 1 yuan coin on the ground. He called out to the old man in a white shirt ahead, "You have dropped your money." However, the man had already moved on and did not respond. He picked up the coin, thinking that since he hadn't given any money to the beggar earlier, he would give this coin to him. He walked back a few steps and saw the old beggar still shaking his bow, still silent. He bent down and placed the coin in the beggar's bowl. The coin made a faint sound, a slight clunk. This minor sound seemed to trigger something, and he heard the noise of traffic from the road below the overpass. Then a gust of wind blew and the fog dissipated all at once. Sven was stunned. Looking down at the road, he saw a traffic jam. Many cars were stuck, unable to move, with all vehicles honking their horns, creating a very noisy scene. The noise from the car horns made his head buzz, and he felt somewhat nauseous. Then He woke up. He found that there was indeed a noise ringing in his ears. It was the alarm clock he had set on his phone. He turned off the alarm, but the uncomfortable feeling from the dream did not disappear. He could not control himself and vomited on the floor beside the bed. This startled Liang, who was laying on the other bed. He asked, Sun, what's wrong? Sun waved his hand and then continued to vomit. Liang went to the bathroom, wet a towel, handed it to him. He then handed him a bottle of mineral water and said, Sun, did you catch a cold from the air conditioning while eating? Sun laid on his side for a while before he felt a bit better. He wiped his face with the towel and felt very dizzy. He asked Liang, what time is it? Shall we go now? Liang replied, It's 5 o'clock, but it's okay. You can rest a bit longer. How are you feeling now? Sun tried to get up and clean the vomit, but felt so dizzy that he had to sit back down on the bed. Liang said, You might have a fever. I have a thermometer in my bag. You should check your temperature. While checking his temperature, Sun thought about the dream he had just had. The old man in the white shirt seemed familiar, with a recognizable gait and build, but he couldn't quite place where he had seen him before. A few minutes later, he checked the thermometer, and yes, he had a fever. Liang called the university leader and said, Sun had a fever. The leader replied, Don't rush to Dalian. Take Sun to the hospital first to get checked out. Once you're sure he's fine, then you can go to Dalian. Liang hung up the phone and said, Sun, we won't go to Dalian today. You should rest well. I'll reschedule the flight and get some medicine for you. If it doesn't help, we'll go to the hospital. Sun felt very embarrassed, thinking that his illness had disrupted the planned work and caused trouble for his colleagues. He said, I'll just take some medicine. I'm sorry to trouble you. Liang cleaned the room and then left. Sun slept for a while in the room. When Liang returned, he said, The flight has been rescheduled for the day after tomorrow. You just rest. I bought 2 kinds of medicine. Liang boiled some hot water, and Sun took the medicine. He then called home to inform his wife about the rescheduled flight due to his illness and went to bed early. Liang was awakened early by a phone call. It was from the university. After a brief conversation, he said, What? Oh my God! Sun, who was half asleep, saw Liang's pale face and asked what had happened. Liang replied, The university is in chaos. They thought we had boarded the plane yesterday. The plane we were supposed to take yesterday caught fire and crashed. They turned on the TV and saw the news report. On May 7th, 2002, at 21:32, Dalian Zhoushui Airport received a report from a Northern Airline flight CG6136, a McDonnell Douglas aircraft flying from Beijing to Dalian, which was in the air above Fujiazhuang, stating that the cabin was on fire. The plane then lost contact with the airport. 5 minutes later, the Liaoda Ganyu 0998 fishing boat reported to Dalian Maritime Search and Rescue Center via phone number 12395 that a civilian airliner was on fire above Fujiazhuang. The Maritime searched A rescue center issued an emergency rescue notification immediately to the Lushun naval base, the Dalian Border Defense Corps, and the Port Authority fleet. At around 21:40, the plane crashed. It was verified that there were 103 passengers and 9 crew members on board, all of whom perished, including 4 children, 1 passenger from Hong Kong, China, 3 from Japan, 1 from South Korea, 1 from India, 1 from Singapore, 1 from France, and the remaining 91 were Chinese citizens. Subsequently, they learned more details after the May 7th air disaster. The military deployed a total of 128 vessels with a cumulative 1,331 vessel trip and 6,955 hours of operation, a total of 17,838 personnel participated in the search and rescue operations. 64 divers were assigned with a cumulative 672 dives and 697 hours of underwater operation. The search was conducted repeatedly over an area of 26.7 square kilometers in a sea where the plane crashed. A carpet-style underwater search was conducted over an area of 240,000 square meters. Additionally, a thorough search was conducted along a 53-kilometer coastline and over an area of 180 square kilometers west of Sanshan Island for any floating bodies or debris. A total of 92 victims' bodies or remains and some personal belongings were recovered. Several thousand pieces or fragments of aircraft debris, including the cockpit voice recorder, flight data recorder, and aircraft engines, were also salvaged from the water. Through an investigation of Dalian Zhoushui's International Airport, it was confirmed that the airport's navigation and radar equipment were fully functional at the time of the accident. The captain of the crashed aircraft was born in 1967 and had accumulated 11,000 hours of flight experience before the accident. The co-pilot, born in 1973, had 3,300 hours of flight experience. Both pilots held valid licenses and had passed routine medical examination before takeoff. The aircraft underwent a routine 5A maintenance check from March 27th to April 2nd, 2002. Additionally, checks on the relevant cargo, manifests, and fueling records confirmed that the aircraft's weight and balance were within standard limits when it took off from Beijing Capital International Airport. After a series of investigation and meticulous reasoning, the air disaster handling team determined that the May 7th air disaster was a sabotage event caused by international arson by a passenger named Zhang Pulin. Among the 103 passengers who perished in the air disaster, only 44 had purchased aviation accident insurance. According to regulations, passengers who purchased a 20-yuan aviation accident insurance policy would receive a 200,000 yuan compensation from the insurance company in the event of a fatal accident. Each passenger was allowed to purchase up to 10 policies. Under normal circumstances, most passengers would only buy one policy. However, The person had purchased 7 policies, resulting in a compensation amount of 1.4 million yuan. This person was a Zhang Pulin. Zhang Pulin, born in 1965 and from Dalian, Liaoning, had a master's degree in engineering from Nanjing University. After graduation, he was assigned to work in computer-related tasks at the Dalian Police Bureau's Household Registration Office. He later left to start his own decoration company. His original intention was to stage an accident to defraud the insurance company, but the fire got out of control quickly after he set it, killing everyone on board, including himself. My God, he was such a fool. The plane was the one that Sun and Liang originally planned to take. Northern Airlines CG6136. Because Sun had a sudden fever and vomiting, they rescheduled their flight for the day after tomorrow and did not board on this plane. Their university had colleagues who saw the news and informed the school leaders immediately. Later, the school leaders called Sun and told him not to take the plane anymore but to return to Jiuzhou by train ASAP. The procurement of matters would be postponed. This day was May 8th. This was the first day of school after the holiday. Xiaomei went to school early in the morning and had no idea what had happened. When she returned home at noon, her mother hugged her and said, "My child, you don't know. Your father narrowly escaped a disaster." Tears streamed down her face. Xiaomei was stunned. Her mother then told her the whole story, and she realized that she could have lost his father. Later, Sun and Liang returned together by train from Beijing. When Xiaomei pressed her father for details about the incident, he did not talk much, only mentioning that he might have caught a cold from the air conditioning while eating and also having the air conditioning on while sleeping. Later, when Xiaomei was sorting out this story and made a video call to his parents, her father finally told her about the strange dream. The old man in a white shirt in the dream was probably related to another peculiar experience from his childhood. If there is an opportunity in the future, Xiaomei will tell me this story and I will share it with everyone. At the end, we must pay tribute to all the innocent victims of May 7th air disaster. So everybody, this is the end of the story. Please share what you think of this story and your stories. Thank you, everybody. This is Alex's story time. I am Alex. I got a lot of stories to share with you. Bye bye, everybody. See you next time.